Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to the intro. This is a good one. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled. So I'm about to show you guys something. You guys ready? Hey, some of you might need to close your eyes because you might throw up at the end. I'm about to show you something. And the question is, how do you go from looking like this to looking like that? Roll the clip. How do you look like that? Okay. How do you look like that? And then you go to this. How do you go to that? It's explainable. I'm going to tell you exactly how you went from that to that. First of all, it's called filters. Okay. There was a lot of filters involved, a lot of bold glamour involved in the first three pictures. But even more so than that, that was a woman with spirit, a woman that had her future ahead of her, a woman's whole fucking panoche that wasn't blown out, right? A woman that was going places or looked like she had the advantages to go places. Now, that doesn't mean because you're a pretty girl, you got more advantages than others, but it definitely helps, right? And I'm not here to say Rebecca Haro was beautiful or pretty, but she was definitely noticeable, right? Now, what happened to her in the meantime, in between time, right? I actually put this story up or put this question up to one of the homegirls, and she told me she just doesn't have no filters and makeup on. She's still beautiful. Fuck that bitch, right? She ain't beautiful. She's a monster. What happened was the beaten and battered syndrome. She met a man who she thought was going to be the love of her life, and oh, he was. But that also came with an uppercut and an overhand cross, right? And some beating of children on the way in. Jake Haro definitely destroyed this woman inside and out. I don't know about inside. I don't know how he did that, but he definitely broke her down mentally and physically. So much that her appearances changed drastically. I remember I was telling the homeboy, hey, look, bro, trip out. This is how Rebecca Haro actually looked prior to Jakey the Snakey, right? And he was like, ain't no way, bro. There ain't no way that's her. I said, serio. He's like, you're bullshitting. But it really is. Okay. That shows you how a woman can be vibrant, lively, have a lot of energy, just like ready to take on the world. And then the world comes crashing down on her. And in her world is Jake the Snake Haro. This man, it seems like he destroys everything he's around. Is it bad luck? Nah, it's more so than that. We got to understand this. Jake Haro comes from dysfunction. Okay. He comes from not having a lot and being shipped here and shipped there. His family's ghetto. Okay. There was a lot of drug usage involved in the family, a lot of abuse within the family. And so Jake suffered a lot of this. Does it give him an excuse to beat children and kill children? Absolutely fucking not. But it definitely is understandable. You know, what he went through can twist his mind up. Now, some people are just born like this. You know, some people are born privileged, man. You know, that big home, 4-car garage, 2 parents, like everything's good at home. And something internally is fucked up and they turn into a school shooter or something like that, right? They get so spoiled, they want to have it their way, right? And their mind is twisted. And so with those type of individuals, it's hard to understand, like, why? You had everything. You had it all coming. Why'd you do that? But no one knows how the mind works. Exactly. Now with Jake, he's on that R. Kelly shit. Jake and R. Kelly went through abuse at a young age. Okay. And this is a fact. I'll be doing a video later on explaining, you know, exactly what happened with Jake and Hector, or Jacob, Hector, and then of course, you know, their sister Sylvia. Now, and according to Andatira has entered the chat, they got another sister, Lulu, right? Lulu? I don't know. But I do know who Sylvia is. and Hector, and of course Jake. Now back to Richueca, right? This woman let the love for a man do her like this. Hey, let's look one more time. She went from that right there, school teacher, you know what I'm saying? Ooh wee. You know what I'm saying? I'd give her the business. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Why not? Nope. Hola. Hola has entered the chat. You know what I'm saying? Damn, look, she looks like she's trying to stare arrows through a motherfucker, right? Her hair turned gray. Her life was drained out of her. You know, I think it's the abuse that she suffered at the hands of Jake, the life that she took upon herself. Look, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was with the chick, and she was pretty ghetto, right? And so everything that we did, it's like if it wasn't ghetto, it wasn't ghetto enough. You know what I mean? She needed to be like food stamps had to be mandatory. Like WIC had to be mandatory. Like if there wasn't 7 gallons of milk in the refrigerator from WIC, we weren't doing things right. And I wanted to do better things in life, like work and try to, you know what I'm saying, get a nicer car. And you know how it is. And she liked ghetto. No, we'll take the bus. Like, bitch, you'll take the bus. Says, I'll see you at the bus stop on the way back. Like, I didn't want to do all that, but she was so used to being ghetto. That's the way she grew up. She thought that was part of her life. And she was ran down. Like her life, you could see that there was something weighing heavy on her shoulders. It was the ghetto. And all the guys in the ghetto were, you had the ghetto on your shoulders and the ghetto in your shoulders, right? Eventually, man, she met someone after I done left, right? That's just as ghetto as she is. And so now they could be ghetto together, right? Which is cool. But with me, you want more things in life. When you meet a woman or you meet a man, right? Whatever it is you're into, right? Or if you're a woman watching this, you want the finer things in life, but you want to work hard for it. You want to work as a team together and encourage each other and build each other up. That's just the way it goes, right? Rebecca and Jake didn't do that. These fucking piece of shits, right, did not do that. Instead, Jake and Rebecca were scam artists, or at least Jake was. This man didn't like to work. This man, you know, according to what I've heard about Rebecca, she was actually a caretaker. Can you believe that shit? That woman, a caretaker? Hey, take her, right? Not caretaker, but take her. Hey. So she seemed like she came from a family that wanted to work. And that's why, you know, we don't never see her family around. Her family has distanced themselves from her. They've become estranged from her. They don't want to deal with the bullshit ghetto she was living. The scam artists, the getting over, the unemployment checks, the fucking, the whatever it was that they were doing, right? His family in and out of their home. You know, this sister living here, this brother living here, this sister living here, kids running around. Fuck, shut up. You could understand where motherfuckers are getting frustrated, right? But not enough to hit a kid or murder your own son. Fucking idiots. Okay, so Rebecca went from looking halfway decent to halfway undecent, or all the way undecent. And that's just stress. That happens, man. I've seen people change. That's drug usage. You can tell. Stress. You know, one of my homeboys was like, ain't no way she's on drogas, homie. She's too big. Shit, I got a homegirl. Weighs about 2 nifty, right? She used to get high every weekend. She was a weekend warrior. Then it became every Tuesday. Then it became every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? And let me tell you right now, she never lost 1 pound. In fact, she gained weight on meth. It was just crazy, right? But her mind was just built different. She was literally built different. She was just what she was, right? And that's my homegirl, regardless. I don't care if she was high or not, man. That's my homegirl. I'm one phone call away to this day. I'll pull up. Now, but I would see the stress on her. Her hair was turning gray, wrinkles in her face. Her weight didn't drop, but you could just tell. People become old and haggard on drugs and stress. And I could tell that Jake is definitely responsible for Rebecca's stress. How the fuck you go from looking like that to looking like that? Doesn't even look like the same person. Now, I understand about filters and bold glamour and makeup and all that. I get it. Some chicks, they be scaring you in real life. You be getting catfished like a motherfucker, right? They send you a picture like that. You're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm about to bone something, right? You pull up. She stepped off the car looking like Freddie Jackson, right? Like I already know. She stepped off looking like Cedric the Entertainer, right? Only thing wrinkled around there was her forehead when she said, bitch, what? Right? I already know. Rebecca is not that. Rebecca is living a life, or was living a life of sheer terror, spousal abuse, and that shit will take a toll on you. You know, it becomes where these women love these men so much, they are like, hey, I'll just take a beating here and there. But that in itself, does not, and I repeat, does not give her an excuse for what they did to baby Emmanuel, right? And there's a lot more things coming up. Everyone's always looking for an update. What's going on with baby Emmanuel? The search is still real. Now, I don't know if the authorities are still searching. To be totally honest with you, I think they killed that noise. I think they're done. I think they realized that baby Emmanuel will probably never be found, which I agree with it. But that doesn't mean to stop. You can't stop, so you won't stop, and you don't stop. You never stop. You go savage mode. You keep going out there. You keep looking. You keep inquiring, and that's why I have so much respect, like a level of respect, like surpassing everything for Andatira, for Ahmed Beyoso, because that vato continue, even if it's with words, but it's more so with actions with him. He's out there, man. He's still out there. He jumped back in the motherfucking mix for baby Emmanuel. Respect, brother, for that one, right? I think this dude's going to crack the whole shit. Watch. He's going to end up finding at least a spot where they dump baby Emmanuel just because he's that good and because he's really out there dedicated. Respect. But to be totally honest with you, this is never an excuse because Rebecca was getting beat on. Some chick told me, have some sympathy, have some heart for what she was going. Fuck her. You have the heart and the sympathy for her. I'm not going to have shit for her. Her son is missing. She's sitting her fat ass in county jail right now, eating my food that I paid for with my taxes, right? And that bitch is going to sit there and never even ask about her child, refuse visits, put her hair in a French braid, try to act pregnant, right? Like, look, there's nothing that her and Jake are doing to me right now that I could give a fuck less about, man, other than pain. You know what I'm saying? I must break you. Like Rocky shit. I want them to get hurt, right? Allegedly. I'm just saying, there's nothing, I don't feel sympathetic to. Look, if it's an average, normal woman that's going through a domestic relationship, yeah, I feel for that, man. You know? And sometimes I've seen it where women are getting beat on, man, and then they won't turn their old man in. They love him too much, and it just continues until they almost die, right? Or they do die. You know? And so fuck this. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about a beaten and battered woman, man. I had a homeboy. He was a gangster, right? And he was one of the OGs that, like, you didn't fuck with, no one did. Had major hands, and he'll pop you quick. And he only kept the inner circle. Very few friends around him that were like, that he trusted. I was one of them friends. How? I don't know. To be totally honest with you, I don't know. I just got in like Flynn. But anyways, one day, me and my chick at the time. Okay, I have to go way back to tell you guys the story. Now, you guys can think what you want to think, but this is the truth, right? This was around the time Princess Diana died. How do I know? Because I was watching on the news as it was breaking news. And I just got off work, and I walked home from work. We didn't own a car. I would get off of work, right? Worked at a fast food restaurant, and she was my baby's mom. She worked at a fast food restaurant. She would leave when I'd come. We'd have like an hour to see each other until the weekends. Truth, right? Pretty good relationship. We argued from time to time. It never got violent, like with fists, but it was loud arguments, right? She was not prepared for a long-term relationship. She still wanted to go to the clubs, kick it with her sister, do all this type of shit. I was like, once we have a baby, that's it. You know, it's time to settle down. I don't want to either. I want to go out there and gangbang. But I was a responsible person. So anyways, I'm home. I remember she had made me like some pork chops, and I had the steak knife, you know, and I'm sitting right there in the couch in the living room on one of those tables, and I'm eating. And she's doing her makeup in the bathroom, and I'm telling her she's on the clock, you know, so you got to go get my money. So I'm like, hey, you got about 15 minutes. You better jam right now. She would take off walking, or one of my primos would come pick her up, or however, right? He's probably getting a mamon on the way there. That's why he would always come 3 to 4 times a week. But it was a day she was going to have to walk. It wasn't too far, a couple blocks. And she's like, all right, stop bitching, right? I said, hold up, bitch, who you calling a bitch, man? Right? And she's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I know what she meant. So I didn't make a big issue out of it. So she comes down. She was like, what? You're not going to walk me? And I said, when have I ever walked you? Plus, Princess Diana died. I'm in mourning right now. What am I going to do? And so we started to argue, right? So as she goes into the bathroom, I threw my, we're organized. Get out of here. And I threw the steak knife towards the wall, right? Because she's in the bathroom. Well, she came out of that bathroom at the exact same time, and it hit her in the leg. Boom. And it like bounced off her leg. No big deal. Right. And I was like, oh, shit, my bad. She goes back in the bathroom. So I'm waiting. It's like time for her to go to work. What the hell? She's in the bathroom and she's wrapping her leg up. She's bleeding. It nicked her. Pretty good, though. Right. I'm like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. She knows. Right. Well, what had happened was the neighbors for fucking whatever reason had heard us arguing. They called the cops. So next thing you know, there's cops banging on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Now, the type of baby mama I had was she'll use some she'll blackmail you, right? So she's at the door and I'm like, don't let him in. Don't let him. I'm all spooked. She's bleeding in her leg and shit. She has a sock tied around a ghetto, right? And she was like, motherfucker, I'm going to tell. And I said, bitch, you not. And I jumped out the second story window, in the kitchen, right? I was gone. Anyways, I take off running and I go to that OG's house. He lives right around the corner. His old lady won't let me in, right? His old lady won't let me in. Finally, eventually, I get in the house. He calls her. He comes. I watched this dude beat her almost in there to death in front of me, man. There was nothing I could do because every time I try to jump up to save her, he was like, do something. I was like, no, right? What I'm saying is this, man. That woman looked beaten and battered too. She used to be with my cousin prior to being with him, and she always looked good, right? Because it's just some men can beat the hell out of women. They don't realize how they switch and they change. And that's what happened with Rebecca. And you know, for people that are like, have some sympathy for her, I will not. Hey, look, until she tells us where baby Emmanuel is, I'll be like, yeah, Rebecca, thank you, bitch. I'm lying. Fuck you, right? Because there was children in that household. We're not even talking about the 2-year-old yet. The 2-year-old that's in the system, in the CPS system. I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on, but you know, that's some CPS shit, so you can't really get in the mix like that. But I'm trying to find out what happened to Mija, because I'm so glad that she was taken from them. Well, eventually she would have been taken from them anyways. And I'm so glad that she wasn't given to their family members, because I think it'd pretty much be the same thing. You know, Jake is a fucking despicable human being. If you could even, I use that term loosely, a monster that hurts children and hurts women and tears their life apart. Oh, you got look at Rebecca. Let's look one more time. Look at how she looked, and then she met Jake, and look at how she looked. She went from looking like Beverly Hills to a Beverly Hillbilly. Look, that's Rebecca Haro. Kind of gets you in the boo boo, huh? Makes you want to get her in the boo boo. Now's the Beverly Hillbilly, Rebecca. God damn, she's going through the motions. Stress will do that to you. Stress and a whole bunch of uppercuts. I'm telling you right now. Look at the next time you see Canelo Alvarez, look at his face. I bet you don't look like how he looked. Remember when he was dancing on stage? Remember when Canelo was dancing and shit? Remember? Next time you look at him, he's gonna look like a frog. I guarantee once you get beat on a little bit, you lose your luster, right? And so I say that to say this. Rebecca Haro, here's my PSA to you and your fucking punk ass husband, Jake. Husband, I'm married. I hate when people do that. They get married for no fucking reason, not because they're really in love or they want to build a family or they want to take care of their children or a home. No, they get married because it's fucking the cool thing to do. That's my wife, eh? Man, fuck your wife. I boned your wife already. Serio? Yeah, before she was your wife and after. Before Christ and after death, right? I did all that. Damn, bro, why you got to do me like that? I didn't do you like that. I did her like that. You're just now finding out about it. Man, I'd break Jake's heart. You know what I'm saying? If Rebecca was looking like, if she was looking like this, yeah, Jake, you'd have been asked out. Now that I know what she looks like, and now that I know what she's about, she's a despicable ass fucking human being. I want zero to do with her, man. You know, this is just my PSA out to her and her fucking punk husband. Tell authorities where you put the baby already, man. Look, you're going to get convicted, dumbasses. Public opinion is you did it. The law says you did it. Everybody knows you did it, man. Let your son, if you've ever did anything for a child positive in your life, let your son have the proper burial memorial, or at least let people know exactly what happened. Look, I understand you got to stick to the mud, man. You don't want, look, you're going to get life anyways, pendejo. And you too, piruja, you guys are going to get life. If you have any type of motherly instincts or any type of normality to you, any type of conscience, bitch, tell the people what happened. This is ridiculous already. You got a man and a woman. People are like, you guys, they're not guilty. They're bitch. They ain't. Look, they have not asked about their child one time. One time. There's a chick running around on TikTok. Jake never admitted it. There's a chance that, listen, bitch, fuck you and that dude you call Chance, right? I don't care if he admitted it or not. What about Promise, though? What about Promise? He's not a bad man. We're not sure. So Promise is just, Promise don't get no love or what? Fuck you and Rebecca. But I ain't gonna lie, man. How do you go from looking like one thing to another? Stress, grief, beatings, and just letting herself go. You know what I'm saying? And then the bitch wants to throw a French braid in. Listen, Beverly Hillbilly, there ain't nothing you can do for that. No, you look like a monster because you're a monster. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. This video has been sponsored by Barrio Liquors. If you're ever in the Central Valley and Turlock, make sure you tap in to the Barrio Liquors, man, and go get you the iciest cold ones. Let's go. Thank you.